So today I wanted to talk about the 1-800 vending machine. I was going to talk about how to assemble it and disassemble it and what it looks like. So this is what it looks like fully assembled. It's almost a full metal machine. Has the plastic canisters, and then this green body here is plastic, but it has a metal base, metal pole, and the coin mechs are metal, the lid is metal, and the chute doors are metal. So it's mainly metal, and I really like that about this machine. To assemble it, it's fairly straightforward. There's a couple things you need to know to make it easier so you don't struggle with it, but the first thing to know is there's three basic components to this machine. There's the actual machine, which I have here. There's the metal pole, which is right here, and then there's the metal base. You can completely disassemble this machine just by taking out 8 screws, and 4 of them they look like this.
You're going to have 8 screws total. 4 of them are the one here on the left, which is a tapered screw. Those are what go from the machine to the top of the stand. And the other 4 are the one on the right, which is a panhead screw, I believe is what it's called. And that's what goes from the base of the stand onto the pole.
You turn it upside down, so put the square side down and put that on the ground, and then take your base and turn it upside down and just line up the holes with the round end of the pole. It sits there pretty well on its own. My drill's set too to not over tighten, so I know that it's not going to strip the screw in half. It works best to, if you're unsure, is you don't have to tighten it all the way at first. You can make sure all 4 get in and then tighten it. So once you have those 4 screws on, that's your base right there. So turn it back right side up, so the square side's up here. And now you attach the machine. And I think this is where people run into problems, is they assume, which I guess it makes sense if you don't know a lot about it or you haven't had previous experience, that you just line the base up to here and put the screws in. But the thing you need to know is you need to disassemble the machine to put the screws in, because they come in through the top. There's 2 screws that need to be removed, and you have to have the key to do that. So the top screw and then the back screw are the locks, basically. And this is where the coin tray comes out, and this is where you refill the candy. So you need to remove both of those, and by doing so the whole machine will come apart, and then you can get access. So here's the coin tray on the back. The important part on doing this is to go consistently and to go slow, because if you try to force it, you can strip off that little metal piece and then your key's completely ruined. So push it in a little bit when you do it, and just turn counterclockwise to unscrew it, and it should go fairly easy. That'll come off. If that's jammed on there a little bit, which I've had happen before, you can put this in and kind of use it to pry it open. But as long as it's lined properly, it shouldn't be an issue. That's where the coin tray then comes out. And I do that first because you have to have that out in order to access the machine base to screw onto the top of the stand. So at this point the lid comes off, and you have access to all 3 of your canisters here. So if you were filling the candy, this is where you do it. Even without the back being off, at this point, these canisters will come out, the whole machine will disassemble, except you can't access those screws to screw it onto the base unless that coin tray is out. So at this point, once you have the lid off and the back off, you can just take the green part and the whole thing will lift off. And that way you don't have to disassemble the whole machine piece by piece. So if you just lift the green part here, it'll come right off, and you can just set that aside. So on the base here, there's a couple different holes. There's 8 of them that are really close, and you're going to be using the inner 4. You can see from the bottom here that you're going to use, and that's what lines up on the stand, and it should line up fairly easy. So now you use the top, the screw with the tapered top, and again, go easy when you're starting them, so you don't cross thread. And on these ones, I don't tighten them all the way down until I've gotten all 4 of my screws in, just because of how they're designed with the taper. It'll self-center the stand on top of or the machine base on top of the stand, and you want it to do that so it lines up properly. If you tighten one down all the way at first, it won't center them down properly. So at this point, the machine is completely assembled. So now you just put the top back on and you're ready to go. This part can be aggravating, but what I like to do is, if you look down through the center canister, you can see where that post comes up through. And if you just look at it as you go down, you can line it right up. The whole thing will sit on just like that. So then it's just a matter of putting the lid back on, putting the back on, the coin tray in, and you're ready to make some money.